Today we are going to talk about the Chinese GPU. As I read the recent article saying that the Chinese company allegedly developing a GTX 1080 class GPU with faster clocks, PCIe 4.0, and a high bandwidth HBM memory. So this recently, China has developed a lot of chipsets because of the USA sanction. So due to that, they have been developing a lot of things on chipsets like Longxin for the CPU. They have a Longxin, Zhaoxin, and then the Phytium, and many other CPUs company. You can search on my YouTube channel. You search type on YouTube type Chinese CPU, you will see I tested 3000 Longxin CPU. So CPU will have the Chinese CPU. They have also the Chinese Linux. So they have Deepin and Neo Kilin and Nonix Fedora based on Debian, and then they modify the Linux kernel and develop their own OS. So now Chinese companies have most they can self control, and then will be safer for their the country, and then the party, Communist Party, and then the office, and then the military department. If they use Chinese CPU, GPU, and the OS, they will be much safer. So they are doing that on a trend. So they have a lot of things now. For CPU they have, and OS they have. GPU still not on the market, but not on the commercial market, but the Jingjia Michael, this one. Yeah. Jingjia Michael, 景嘉美. Jingjia Michael, 景嘉美. JM5400 GPU is already being used in the military aircraft displays. It's like the fighter, the J-20, the fighter. They have already used that on the screen, on the pilot screen, and also the many military computer monitor. They already use this kind of GPU, but not on the the personal users, commercial level. Only the GPU is still not on the market, but the CPU, Longxin, Zhaoxin, Huawei, and Phytium, and many other CPUs companies in China. You can buy it on Taobao, just like the eBay, Chinese eBay. You can buy it, so you can use it actually. Because I also bought the 3000 Longxin CPU based computer, desktop computer. There are laptops as well, so you can buy it easily. A GPU still, the 3D card, display card, still we cannot buy it on Taobao or on the market. Just they are just using the military or the government only. But I think next year, 2020 or 2021, they will release a GPU 3D card, Chinese made, so they don't need to use the Nvidia or AMD ATI, those kind of Intel integrated GPU. They don't need to. They will have their own GPU next year, together with the own self-made CPU and GPU and the OS based on Linux. The OS normally based on Linux, so probably can be okay. Just like now, I am using Deepin, the Linux Debian based on Debian. You see here, Deepin, Chinese-made OS based on the Linux Debian kernel. I'm still using. Here it's very great, and on my another computer I'm using the Longxin CPU as well. So now they only next year they will have the GPU. So they claim that the level is GTX 1080. So I think it's very enough for you to play the game or normal game with any other things like what kind of things you can do, browsing or something. You see there are a table showing the details and specifications of the GPU comparing to GTX 1050 and JM 9271 or GTX 1880. You can see by yourself. Okay. And besides this Ging Jiaming, Jing Jia Michael, there's still a lot of different, that's the same story. Jing Jia Michael, Jing Jia Michael. You can do it, Google it by yourself after the video, and besides Jing Jiamei, Longxin also have their own GPU, right? But they just bought from the Vivanti, that kind of foreign Western company, the GPU. They bought it using IP and then they released their chipset. So I think it's not so self-controllable, not so self-made. Besides Jing Jiamei, and then and another one is the so Longxin has their GPU as well. And the other one is the 09 GC 101, 09 GP 101, 09 GP 101. I don't know the English. Let me search. I don't know the English. 09 GP. This is another company besides Jing Jia Michael. English. GPU. GP1, not NVIDIA. Chinese maybe I type. Chinese GP 101. I don't know. Yeah. Besides let me talk about it. Besides the GPU, there are also RAM, memory, CNUNI, unique 提供. They also have the memory stick, DDR3 or 4. My Longxin using DDR3 Chinese RAM as well. Also SSD using Chinese one. In the chipsets, Longxin chipsets as well. For the SSD chipset, the local chipset, they have all Chinese-based GPU, CPU, and chipsets as well. So I think it's very great. This is one. Oh, no Chinese, no English. Okay, let me see this. Another company is the 09 GP 101 is also very great. So the Chinese GPU as well. Okay, yeah. About the news of the GP 101, 09. They're talking about and showcase here with the 3D graphic. And supports OpenGL 2, ESG2, and Windows, Linux, all kind of things, and 2D, 3D, no problem. So very great, and with the developers and then their team. So another, and also the Longxin we just talked about is the 7A1000, that bridge chipset for this Longxin CPU also have the integrated GPU. But this kind of GPU, as I talked about, they Longxin bought the IP from the Vivanti. I think it's the company Vivanti. It's the GPU company in the West. Let's see. GPU. Yeah. Vivanti Corporation is Fabless Semiconductor Company headquartered in Sunnyvale, California. Yeah. originally in California, USA, with an R&D center. Oh, that's right, they have an R&D center in Shanghai, China. The company was founded in 2004 as Qgila and focused on the portable gaming market. The company's first product was a DirectX compatible graphics processing unit capable of playing PC games. Yes, this Vivanti corporations long since used this, bought the GPU of this GPU to use for long since. So for this one, 7A1000 bridge chipset using this Vivanti GPU. So you can see Chinese. This is not so self-controllable, not self-made, just bought, right? So besides Jinja Micro and then 09101 GP101, this is just talk about it briefly. Okay, it's not self-made one. And the Zhaoxin, this kind of CPU company also cooperating with the Wire, the Taiwanese company, CPU company, so they can work as they can produce CPU using x86 structures architecture, not the long since MIPS, not the Huawei's ARM. So this one is okay for producing GPU because they bought the S3 from the S3 company. S3 is what's a GPU company, yeah? So they brought it so they can also produce their own GPU, right? GPU, I think it's very great. This is also very great news too. This one is Jinja Micro, as we already talked about. Jinja Micro, yeah, very great. This is another company, GP101 we talked about. The article saying that we have CPU, Huawei, Longxin, Haigan, Zhaoxin. Haigan is the cooperation with the AMD company. But the GPU, now we also have the great progressions. So in this GP101, yeah, support those kind of things. And then compete with NVIDIA and AMD. Sys and Matrix, Imagination, those kind of English company, and General, right? The Qualcomm's GPU, and then now we have the Chinese GPU. We talked about that kind of things, and also we got the showcase of the this one, GP101. This the GP101 GPU. Let me see how smooth it is. They are, indicating the using this Crack 2 or Crack 3, I don't know, for demonstrating the 3D game as well. So normal use, and then they're playing some kind of normal 3D game, which is enough for you to use. So I think it's very great for the Chinese future, for GPU, CPU, and OS, all the things they have. So yeah, very great. And this is kind of about the Jinja Micro, showing that the 2020 next year JM9231 model will be released. So it's like those kind of NVIDIA 1050, also can play some games and normal use 4K video and 3D games, no problem using the Chinese GPU. I think it's okay. So as a Chinese, I must use it. After they have released it, I will throw my AMD NVIDIA cards to rubbish bin, and using the Chinese-made GPU with the Longsin CPU, GPU, and then the Chinese Linux. So perfect. So I don't think there are many countries that can make it GPU, CPU, and OS together. They can make it. You see, Russia, India, they don't have the ability. Even EU, they don't have the ability. Besides, USA, only China who can make it. So I think it's very great and proud to be Chinese. So using the Chinese-made GPU, I think is very great. And talking about the Jingjia Michael, the table about the specifications and the data. You see here. Okay, this is the current products, not the JM9 series. These current products are being used in the military office and then government office and the fighter, the aircrafts, monitor. They're using those kind of GPUs, JM200, right? This model. They also have the GP101, 0909 GP101 that I have previously shown. So, okay. So to conclude, there are bright future for the Chinese GPU, especially the self-made one, the Michael Jingjia Michael. The Jingjia Michael, okay, and not this is AMD. Jingjia Michael, okay. Jingjia Michael. This one is great. Jingjia Michael. This self-made one. I am expecting that one. Jingjia Michael can be GTX 1080 performance next year. Probably we can see it on the market, not on the Communist Party and the military military office, but on the actual market. Next year probably I will buy it. And another one is the GP101 GPU. Chinese. Or maybe here. This one. 09 GP101. Remember it? Another brand which is a self-made one. Not the buying their other Western companies' IP and to produce their own GPUs like S3, that one, and Longxin's that buy from the Vivante. This is another second brand which I mostly expect. 0909 GP101 GPU. Remember two, Jingjia Michael and 0909 GP101, two brands which they will produce great GPUs next year. So next year is just 2 months later will be next year. So I think very fast that we can use full Chinese CPU, GPU, RAM, SSD, monitor, chipsets, bridge chipsets, and OS, softwares, all kind of things are from China, so that we don't need to be afraid to be sanctioned by the USA's, like even the open source library, the GitHub. We now also having the having the Chinese one, Chinese open source library database based on the in China. They have the database in China, putting all the open source codes in the Chinese servers in China, so they don't need to worry about how USA sanctions, and the USA will boost the Chinese government and Chinese people to use the Chinese CPU, GPU, and those kind of things. That next year I will, when it releases, I will record the actual, the performance for the Chinese GPU with the Chinese CPU's video out to you guys to watch, to see, to feel it. So it's another alternative for the besides USA's companies. GPU and CPU and OS, and next year will be great. And then Huawei will also release their Harmony OS with the P40 flagship phone. Next year I will buy it, P40 with Harmony OS, and the Longxin will release the 38400 new CPU as well though I am using 3000 CPU from Longxin. Next year I will buy a 4000 Longxin. The level is very great and very smooth use. With the latest generator with the GPU, I think it's okay. That's all for today's introduction for the Chinese GPU. Thanks all guys. So leave any comments below. Thanks.